What's up, guys? It's Akrameth here, and today we are redesigning the main man himself, Wario. I want to make his design look much different from his norm and give him just a bit more flair because he's such a flashy guy. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into the redesign. Another redesign, here we go. So started off by just trying to sketch out Wario, but it just ended up looking like a total creep with big arms, short and stubby. Looks like that one guy from Dispatch Punch Up, I think that's his name. Anyways, I began by just trying to make Wario have a more suited and booted kind of fit. I would imagine if I was to redesign Wario, he would have an aesthetic that represents like business or money. I imagine him running like some sort of empire that thrives on gold. You know, I've played Mario Kart. I've seen Wario's gold mine. He has to be some sort of money mogul of some sort or be an entrepreneur. So I designed him in like a more suited aesthetic with a fedora instead of his normal hat. I had the cigar, but I later removed it because I was like, oh, Nintendo would never. But it looked cool in premise. I also wanted to give him like an overcoat, kind of like what Harang has in Tekken 7. I kind of like that aesthetic because it represents like money. They do it a lot in One Piece as well. It just gives some sort of authority, like, you know, he is the leader. Design the back of him, even though I know that I'm not going to draw the backside of him. And yeah, I was starting to get an idea of what I wanted. I was really happy with the way he currently looks, and I went for colors that aren't just his normal yellow and purple. I went for more like blue, purple, and dark blue. Just a more like, I don't know, I just like the way those colors flowed when it came to Wario. All right, here you can see me sketching out his pose. I imagine him running, kind of holding on to his hat. It originally had a coin in there, and I originally had like a big gold chain that changed the jacket, but it just felt a bit too much. So the only bits I kept highlighted in like a gold color was the kind of gold emblem on his hat, his gold tooth, his gold buckle, and just the gold part on his jacket around like his cuffs. Yeah, I also ended up giving him a little bit of red as well. I tend to use like 4 different color ranges when it came to his design. It might have been a bit much looking back at it, but I just like how well the colors mesh together, and it gives Wario just a bit more visual interest. His design is amazing as normal. It's just iconic, the yellow and purple kind of plumber fit with his gloves. But I like the idea of showing off Wario's strength too, kind of like Ken and Ryu, how they have their kind of arms just bulging out. I also gave him like a bit of hair on his forearms, just to the right and kind of left side. You'll see when I get the full inking process done. But yeah, I was having fun with his design, I cannot lie. I know it looks like quite fast the way I'm sketching it here, but I want to let you guys know I hate the inking process. I think it's so tedious. But it's one of the final stages. The sketch part's easy because I don't have to worry about proportions too much. I can just sketch out roughly where I want it to help my future self. But trust me, it's very tedious. I'm yawning just watching the inking process. Instead of like a $ kind of gold symbol, I went for like a power block. I imagine Wario just is the type of guy that like brushes through things, just causes chaos. And whenever I think of the power block, I think of like Super Mario Bros. And when you hit it, it just causes destruction everywhere. Even in Smash Bros. Too, it's just one of those items. I also wanted him to make him look, obviously Wario has always had like a muscular look, but I wanted to get rid of his kind of gut and make him look a bit more proportionate, in a sense where like he is a strong guy, and what if he took it a bit more seriously? He can still have some weight to him, don't get me wrong, I like Wario being a bigger lad, but I want him to look more strong than anything. Now here comes the fun part. I then add the detail line. So right now it's great. I've sketched out the kind of stacks that he has on, but now I start from like head, and then I go to toe with just like detail lines, and my detail lines are just little dashes here and there that just kind of bring out the proportions and just add a slight bit of detail. I cannot explain how it does it, but I just know that it does it. It does a lot for design. Also, if you haven't already, I appreciate you watching this far into the video. Please consider subscribing. I've also drawn Sora, Link, and a few other characters on my channel. There's a playlist dedicated to it, and I do have some other videos too, but yeah, I appreciate you coming through and watching the video. I also got rid of that pink nose of his. I've always thought like they want to make him like kind of like, you know how like there's Crash Bandicoot and then there's fake Crash, or there's, you know, there's just those characters who are knockoff versions, and I know he's meant to be exaggerated. I love his mustache and such, but I gave him a more realistic nose or of sorts, instead of like the pickness. I kept like that kind of eyeliner around his eye, but instead of like I think it's light blue that is currently, I made it like a purple, just to like call back to his original design. All right, here you see me going through the shading. Whenever I do my shading, I tend to make it all white, just the color itself, and then I add gray paint into areas which I think the light would hit, or I decide where the light's going to be coming from, and then after I've added it roughly, I decide to go over it and just refine the shadows a bit, so it just looks more realistic and just looks all in tandem and uniform together. And then right after this, I mess around with layers, and normally it's done. Okay, so we're nearing the final part. Normally after this, the shading is done. I then maybe go back onto some flatter colors and add some lighter areas so that the image actually pops itself, like you can see me doing here. And then the image just comes together, gives it weight, gives them a bit more energy. Yeah, I'm just really happy with the way it came out, but I can't wait for you guys to see the final. Okay, and here is my final. I'm really happy with the way that it came out. He has a lot more muted kind of colors, but his main color now is blue and purple in a way, with some highlighted parts of red. It just really gives Wario more life and more color to his design. I then done another variation with his original colorway. I really like the way it looks. It just shows how good Wario's colorway actually is. And so I love the jacket, how it's flowing in the wind. Yeah, he just looks more grander and just more put together and clean, you know? He looks like somebody's son. Does Wario have a dad? I don't know. And then here is the final colorway, just a throwback to his WarioWare colors as a whole. But yeah, with whatever color I give it, it just works quite well. So I'm really happy with the way it came out. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you so much for coming over. Please consider subscribing and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.